Should Monaco still be on the F1 calendar? This is a question that seems to have gained more and more traction over the last few years, and whether it's because the sport is now so much bigger on social media, or that newer fans just don't think that Monaco has a place in F1, it's difficult to say. I have been watching F1 for 10 years now, and I've got to admit, thinking back, whether it's 2012, 2014, or even as recently as 2016, I don't remember there being this level of scrutiny about whether or not the Monaco Grand Prix even has a place in F1. It's difficult to pinpoint where all of this started, but looking back for this video, I genuinely think that whilst there was always underlying tension about the Monaco Grand Prix, I think that it was Daniel Ricciardo's win in 2018 that really brought the conversation to the forefront. For those that don't know or weren't watching F1, but this is Monaco. For 50 laps, Ricciardo drove basically with one hand tied behind his back, and despite pressure from Seb all the way to the line, he got to the flag to take his 7th win of his career and the first in Monaco. I genuinely think that with the rise of social media and how much more power we as fans now have on influencing what's talked about in F1, that race was the first domino, and ever since then the spotlight in Monaco has been brighter than ever. Again, before 2018, I never really remembered Monaco's future being such a hot topic within F1, but since then, not only has it been a reoccurring question, but it's even something that was asked in the official press conference to the drivers on the Thursday, and it's not very often that drivers get asked to almost justify why they should continue racing on a track that's been on the F1 calendar since 1955. Then of course we get to the racing itself. Now, Monaco has always been a difficult place to pass. I mean, just ask Nigel Mansell about 1992, but especially since the wider cars were introduced in 2017, and even now with how heavy these hybrid cars are, the cars are just too big and cumbersome to go for late dive bombs, and the track is just as narrow as it's always been. So, the talk of whether Monaco still belongs in F1 has been going on for years, but now in 2022, this conversation holds more weight than ever before because as it stands, the Automobile Club de Monaco, or ACM for short, which is the organization that runs the entire Monaco Grand Prix, they still don't have a contract with F1 to host a race for 2023. And I should say at this point, it's not because everyone is happy and F1 right now are ready to climb over mountains to give Monaco a new contract. It's actually the complete opposite. You see, for years Monaco is the only track on the F1 calendar that has been given huge amounts of power and control that other races just don't have. For Monaco, the broadcast and filming is not done by F1, it's done by them with full control. And so when people blame the bad TV direction at Monaco, like with the infamous Stroll cut in 2021, that's got nothing to do with F1 because it's not their usual team who controls it. The commercial side is also a big factor as well. Monaco has forever been the absolute best place to do commercial deals because the very layout of Monaco means that whenever you see any pictures or footage of F1 cars, there is almost always some kind of sponsor in the shot. Now, something that has annoyed F1 themselves very recently is that Monaco has even started to strike commercial deals that are in complete conflict with F1's global partners. So for example, the global timekeeping partner of Formula 1 is Rolex. Rolex sponsorship is very prominent in all of the races, which includes that clever pit lane timer which signals the start of the race. However, Monaco, against the wishes of Formula 1, signed a sponsorship specifically for their race a few years ago with Tag Heuer, who is a direct competitor of Rolex, and because Monaco controls all the cameras, it's their sponsor and not Rolex that is always front and center. If you take a look at the very opening frame just before the lights go out of any recent Monaco Grand Prix, you might notice that the camera is not completely and perfectly focused on the cars, because look at what is perfectly in shot at the very top. Tag Heuer. This is 2018, this is 2019, this is 2021, and this is 2022. And as usual, and not by accident, the official watch sponsor of the Monaco Grand Prix is perfectly in the frame for the most watched part of the race. Now, all of this power that Monaco has, in the past, they could just keep getting away with it, and Formula 1 would need to capitulate to their demands because the amount of money that Monaco generates F1 is huge. But what F1 and Stefano Domenicali are realizing is that with all of the criticism for Monaco and with people questioning its future, F1 doesn't have to capitulate to Monaco's demands anymore with all of the money that F1 is now making from the US market, which has just exploded and is only getting bigger with another race in Las Vegas in 2023. This is what it all comes down to and why there still hasn't been a new contract. The truth is that although I'm sure Monaco are not willing to budge and release the power that they've had for such a long time, Stefano Domenicali knows that whilst Monaco needs F1, F1 doesn't actually need Monaco anymore. And so that's why he's playing hardball, because he knows that he and F1 have all the power. Just like all of us fans, F1 themselves haven't been happy with the way the race has been broadcasted, and they definitely don't like when a track messes with their sponsorship business and puts a conflicting brand front and center against their global brand in the biggest commercial race on the calendar. That's why, in reality, there is so much more going on than just the track layout, and I'm sure there's a million other things that both Monaco and F1 are disagreeing over. My personal opinion on Monaco has always been the same. I love the track and I don't think that it should ever be off the F1 calendar. Every single time I watch an onboard, it gives me goosebumps seeing race cars on a track that almost by its very nature shouldn't have race cars there. And in terms of the lack of overtaking and processional race criticisms, I think all of those are totally fair and I totally understand the fans' frustration. But I've always said that Monaco is the only race on the calendar where the Saturday is almost the bigger event than the Sunday. And I think just for one race of the year, it adds a cool bit of variety to the calendar. One Monaco is what I want, but definitely no more. It's also interesting that even in 2022, apart from each of the drivers' home races, Monaco is still the one the drivers want to win. And I don't know about anyone else, but to me, there's always been a funny irony. How can the race that the drivers want to win most be the most boring race in F1? How does that even make sense? But that's the magic of Monaco. Even Sergio Perez admitted that winning Monaco was a dream come true because this opportunity just doesn't come around very often. And as I've always said, do you know which drivers never complain about the lack of overtaking? The ones that qualify well, score big points, and the ones that win. Simple as that. However, I am not saying that Monaco is perfect by any means. I think the fact that the ACM hasn't been as open to changes shows a really close-minded approach, and I think with F1 improving the way in which they show the sport to us, with new camera angles, and even experimenting with drone shots like we saw in Barcelona, at least F1 are trying. Monaco wanting to do it all themselves just hasn't been up to the standard of where the sport is and wants to go. For many reasons, losing Monaco is now a very realistic possibility. I mean, even as we speak, there literally isn't a race there for 2023. But I do hope that something gets sorted because watching race cars around Monaco is one of my absolute favorite things, and I hope that one day I can be lucky enough to go see it in person. I personally will always be a Monaco apologist, and I just have to wear that bias with pride. But even I can see that if nothing changes, there's a very realistic possibility that we won't have a Monaco Grand Prix in the near future. Well, there you have it, another video in the bag. As always, let me know all of your thoughts in the comments box below. I know that Monaco is a hot topic amongst fans, and if you did enjoy this video, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one.